Man, it's been a while since I've done one of these. Hello everyone, Sodor Railway Studios here, bringing you, finally, another episode of my Sonic voice actors series. And I figured what better way to continue than by looking at the voices of Sonic's closest companion, Miles Tails Prower. For whatever reason, Tails has always been my all-time favourite Sonic character, and I've never been able to put my finger on why. Then again, how could you not love that adorable little face? The funny thing about Tails' voice actors is that he used to be voiced by younger kids back in the day, until around 2005 when the decision was made to let him be voiced by a woman, much like Bart Simpson. So today I'm going to express my opinions on each voice actor who's voiced Tails. Just to be clear, I'm not going to be including Alison Packard from Sonic Drone Home, because I haven't heard enough of her Tails voice to make a final decision. Same with Fred Tatasciore as Knuckles. Also, please remember that this is all my opinion, so if your list is different, that's perfectly fine. So without further ado, let's get started, shall we? So first up, we have Christopher Welch and Bradley Pierce, the voices of Tails in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic Sat AM, respectively.
Hey Sonic, wait up! We sure showed them, didn't we, Sonic? Thanks, Sonic, but I think we're in trouble. Here comes Robotnik. Wow, how fast did we go, Sonic? She didn't give me the funny kiss, didn't know what story to read, didn't even do the scary witch voice. Nuh-uh, it's not a silly race. It's cool, and Sonic's gonna win.
I'm reviewing these two together because I have virtually the same thoughts on them as a voice for Tails. They're both decent, but at the same time, I'm not really able to tell the difference, since they're both slightly too generic. I can never decide which one I prefer, but I do think Christopher has the more endearing voice. So despite my lack of nostalgia for both voices, I do think they're decent, and that they both deserve a 6.5 out of 10. The next voice we'll be looking at is Lainey Frazier, who voiced Tails in Sonic OVA. And I really wish he hadn't. Just listen to the voice.
Sonic! I finally finished it! See, isn't it great? It's a jet-propelled bodyboard. Come on, you want to try it out? Alright, I'll go use it myself.
Now, I'm not saying that she's a bad voice actress, far from it. But did she really have to give Tails that over-the-top and obnoxious-sounding voice? Now, I can understand if people might like Frazier's take on Tails, but for me, she was just far too nasally and obnoxious. So much so that I don't even want to talk about her anymore. Other than the fact that she's just the worst voice for Tails, in my opinion. She gets a 3 out of 10. Sorry, Lainey Frazier, but you just didn't make the cut for me. Later on, for Sonic Adventure, they cast Corey Bringas to voice Tails. And I think he did a decent job.
Long time no see, huh? That was a test run using a new prototype propulsion system. It's got a few bugs to iron out. Yep, I just happened to find one of the Southern Emeralds during one of my test flights. This thing's got unlimited power, you know. So I figured, why not use it to power my plane?
For one thing, I think it makes sense to get a kid to voice a young male character. But at the same time, Corey's performance is pretty varied, so I once again can't call him a favourite. Then again, it could be because I've never played Sonic Adventure in my life, as I've mentioned a few times before. Corey may not be my favourite Tails voice, but he was still decent. He gets a 6 out of 10. Later, for Sonic Adventure 2, they cast Corey's younger brother Connor Bringas to voice Tails. And I honestly couldn't tell the difference.
There's no mistake about it. This must be the island. It's a secret military base that is reinforced and super strong. It's called Prison Island. I heard the news about it on satellite TV. I still can't believe that Sonic would destroy the military buildings or rob the bank. Wait for me, okay, Sonic? I'm on my way!
Yeah, Connor's voice just sounds exactly the same as Corey's to me, but I do think he does a slightly better performance. That's literally all I can say about him, to be perfectly honest. He gets another 6 out of 10. I bet you're all sick of me saying this at this point, but I really do mean it. The next voice we'll be looking at is... William Corkery.
Hey look, it's Sonic! Sonic, check this out!
Head for a wall using homing attack with Sonic as the leader. Press the A button for triangle jump. Use the control stick to change the jump angle.
Now, Corkery is generally considered to be the worst voice for Tails, and I can definitely see why. But one thing, he just sounds way too young for my liking. Also, there's the fact that I can sometimes not understand what he's saying. Honestly, if not for Lainey Frazier, I probably would have considered Corkery to be the worst Tails voice. I feel like the only reason he was the voice of Tails in Sonic Heroes is simply because his dad and sister were the voices of Espio and Charmy at that time. But he still deserves the 4 out of 10 rating I'm giving him. Now on to Amy Pallant.
X-Tornado seems to be running really great since we installed the Chaos Emerald. This has to be just about the smoothest flight I've ever been on. See, I'm looking for an emerald just like this one. It's called a Chaos Emerald. My name's Tails, and I'm Sonic's very best buddy. Right, Sonic?
I was honestly kind of shocked when I heard that Pallant was criticized early on in her career with Tails, because from what I've heard of her, I thought she did a pretty good job. Granted, I do think she sounded a bit too feminine at times, particularly in Sonic X. But later on, in her time voicing the little fox, I thought she got slightly better, though there were still times when I thought she sounded a bit too unnecessarily over the top. But overall, despite my lack of nostalgia for her, I still think Amy Pallant does a pretty good job as Tails. She gets a 7.5 out of 10. Now on to Kate Higgins.
You know that Sonic never holds back, Amy. I thought you liked that about him. Well, by the time we stopped to look around, it was over and we'd already won.
I think it's done. It's in binary code, so only I can read it.
I think it's easy to understand why so many people love Kate Higgins' voice for Tails. For one thing, she sounds like a young boy that you can take seriously. No offense to the Bringus brothers, of course. Also, she bounces off Roger Craig Smith brilliantly, particularly in games such as Colors and Generations. Speaking of Generations, I also think she does a great classic Tails as well. Honestly, if not for the next pick, I think Higgins could have been my favourite Tails voice. For now though, she gets a 9 out of 10. Up next, we have Colleen O'Shaughnessy. And she's the best Tails voice by far.
All qualified candidates welcome. Best candidate gets the job. I'm a lock. Unless there's something you're not telling me. Communication problem. He whacked me with a pillow. Hard. I'm dizzy and I have serious short-term memory loss.
Like, I'm honestly staggered at how good her voice for Tails is. I don't know what happened, but I think Colleen was the best replacement for Kate Higgins they could have asked for. Sonic Boom also happens to be my favourite Sonic TV show, as I've said before. And what's even better, in my opinion, is that Colleen was allowed to reprise her role as Tails in the live-action Sonic movies. I know. She herself said in an interview that that was really brilliant and exciting, what with the typical being replaced by a celebrity in movies.
Alright, let's go.
Oh come on, Chris Pratt wasn't that bad as Mario. Honestly, I couldn't ask for a better voice for Tails. Hands down, Colleen gets a 10 out of 10. Finally, let's talk about Ashley Ball, the voice of Tails in Sonic Prime. And this voice might sound familiar.
I don't like this. Dr. Eggman's too smart not to realize how terribly positioned he is. It's almost like he's... he's not in there. But thanks. I appreciate it. Don't you think it was weird that Eggman wasn't in the Egg Crusher? Wonder if that was all part of the trap. Tell me you didn't toss it in the Barge of Badnik parts.
That's right, guys. Rainbow Dash is the most recent voice for Tails. Even I was shocked to find that out, considering I rarely watch My Little Pony. Overall, I think Ashley does a pretty good job as Tails, but it's pretty easy to hear Rainbow Dash in her performance. Here's a couple of clips to show what I mean.
Sonic, it's cool, really. But thanks. I appreciate it. Where did Shining Armor and Caden say they'd meet us? I'm starving!
There's also the fact that she spends most of her time voicing the alternate versions of Tails, the most prominent of course being 9. But still, Ashley Ball does a pretty decent job as Tails. I may prefer O'Shaughnessy and Higgins, but she's still good enough for me to give her an 8 out of 10. And that's about it for my opinions on Tails' voice actors. I had a ton of fun making this, and I'm terribly sorry that it took so long. Now, if I were to rank all of the voices from worst to best, it would go like this. In last place, Lainey Frazier. In 8th place, William Corkery. In 7th place, the Bringus Brothers. In 6th place, Bradley Pierce. In 5th place, Christopher Welch. In 4th place, Amy Pallant. In 3rd place, Ashley Ball. In 2nd place, Kate Higgins. And at number 1, Colleen O'Shaughnessy. As usual, I hope you enjoyed, and feel free to let me know in the comments if you agree with my thoughts, and which voice for Tails is your favourite. The next episode in this series will likely be on Knuckles, so stay tuned for that when it comes out. Also, please remember to like, comment and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for each and every upload. Until then, I've been Sodor Railway Studios, you've been simply the best, and have a great day. Bye!
I wanna fly high so I can reach the highest of all the heavens. Somebody will be waiting for me, so I have gotta fly higher. Gotta keep going, everything is a brand new challenge for me. I will believe in myself, this is